got you all feeling and being with each other, so you could listen to what was going on, not only with me, but with each other. You could, all of a sudden now, you have an awareness of what is going on over here as well as over there, right? But when we sit over here and our heart rate is 70, and over here we got a heart rate of 82, and over here we got one of 60, it's just creates isolation and separation. But when we get you all together in that space, now we all start moving around and feeling each other in a space that feels comfortable, right? Safe. And that's the piece that we don't understand. The horses taught me this, and I use it all the time now with my therapy, is I had a 92-year-old. The police brought him into the office. They had him handcuffed in, and he's saying, just give me my effing gun back. Just give me my effing gun back. I'm going to get it. I wanted to just shoot himself. And he just kept screaming and screaming, and and he says, you're not going to talk down about it. I said, can I just sit next to you? So I pulled up my chair and I put my hand on his arm. And I just sat there and allowed him to continue to scream and holler about he'd buried 3 wives, he'd buried 2 of his kids, there's no reason to live. And all of a sudden it goes, what's happening? What? What's happening? I said, what are you talking about? He said, my anger's gone away. Well, I got him, I first went to where his heart rate was, and I slowly brought him back to mine. And then we got into that space where we were synchronized and we could sense and be in a space that was safe for both of us. And then all of a sudden he let go. And then we could talk about what were possibilities for him. He was living in an apartment building and he said, I have nobody. I said, so why don't you go down on the street and sit on the bench and greet everybody that comes by? Wow, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, just try it. Well, he not only started doing that, pretty soon he got the people in the next 2 apartments to join him every morning. And pretty soon they had the whole place out there having a get together. And all of a sudden he had value and he had a reason to live. But my point is, it was me going to him on his heart rate and bringing it back to me. It's what I do with kids. If they will allow me to put my hand on theirs, it's way easier to get synchronized, their heartbeat. And if they don't allow me, then I just allow myself, we just be in that space together across the table from each other until we get to that space together. But when we're in this body and we're tight, we wrap so tight, we just hang on to everything. But when you allow somebody to be with you, not talk at you, but be with you, then you can start to release it, because we're the only ones that can heal ourselves. There is no therapist out there that's going to talk you out of your crap. Nobody. I can tell you, there is none. If there is, I haven't met he or she. But I know we can heal ourselves if we allow ourselves to be with each other, be vulnerable, as you said, and get in that space together. It's part of what I think horses can teach you. If you have horses at home, get into that. There's technology now that you can put heart rates on the horses and on yourself. If you need to get that affirmation that, yeah, I am in that space together, then do that. Because those horses, they are the most powerful animals I know of that can do this for us. And I would encourage you to really consider that if you're fortunate enough to have horses at your place, to invest in that. You know, I've worked with heart math for many years, and I've learned so much from them as well as the horses here. The horses probably taught me more than anything on earth, but I would just encourage you to think about some of those things, because it's getting in that space with other people. Okay? All right. I got going on a lot of things I didn't know I was going to get going on today.
We're meant to hear it. Thank you, sir.
So, are we ready? I don't know. Is Denise here?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. Any questions before we get back into the horses?
May I, Jerry?
Yep.
May I say something?
Yep.
I know the request for time. I'll try to be quick.
Yep.
I know Scripture has a lot to say about anger, and so I'll do so. I'll try not to preach, because I know that some people in the audience may be offended by Scripture. But Scripture says that the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Now, whether or not righteousness or the righteousness of God becomes this obtainable thing for each of us, there's some truth in that the best version of ourself is not produced by anger. Us becoming better is not produced by anger. And in fact, we see the worst part of ourselves. The Bible says that anger is something that is not to be a victim of, but something that we can actually put off. Like we can take off like a garment. It says to put off anger, wrath, malice, deceit, and instead put on. Well, I don't know about you, but getting undressed while moving is extremely hard, and I would end up falling flat on my face. So we have to first stop. We have to calmly put our place in an environment where we can be still, unpack things that we do not particularly like about ourselves before we address a situation, whether it be people or life. All of us in this life that we'll just call this chaos of a storm, right, are sitting in our dinghies, being tossed to and fro, bumping into one another. And here we are standing in our boat, shaking our fist at the very wave, blaming God for it, or blaming the very people in their dinghy and saying, you are keeping me from getting from point A to point B. You have offended me, and therefore I have this righteous anger, or at least I believe so. But in fact, we have tools available to us to say, you are not just a victim inside of your dinghy, being tossed by the chaos of this world, being victim of everyone bumping into you, but you are given tools like you have oars in your boat, you have sails, you have diaphragmatic breathing, you have counselors, you're not alone, you have a crew, you have God available to you, and you have the ability to get from point A to point B with, instead of this anger that you can at peace relax and take off, but you can put on patience, kindness. The Bible also says that do not let the sun go down